it now. Alright, let's try again. There we go. Trying to get them wavy lines out there. Guess we're fighting everything tonight. Alright, we got another one. Come here. This is Switzerland. These are before the G4 storm. Wait until the effects from the G4 storm hit us. Yeah, you can't drive there. What's wrong with the camera tonight, man? Japan, Switzerland, all these places looking like this now. All right, howdy, folks. Welcome back. I told you I would be back, and as you can tell, the world can see that I'm back too. Okay, let's get started here. Not much really to show you for August 12th on the satellite. We'll cover that in a minute, but I want to go over what happened on August 9th here. Give me a second, critter. Get out of there. So, our G4 storm caught people up by surprise because of the intensity of it. And over here at this channel, which should be no surprise, and I'll explain why. 3 days before, usually takes these CMEs 3 days to get here. They were all stacked up together. All right. We did see a division in between, a separation. If you watch Wages World, he showed you the chart with the with the KP index at a really strong level, and then diving down to KP2, and then right back up to high again. So there was our barrier in between. But the residual radiation with the object accompanying the event is what kind of catches people off guard. Okay, so here we are back at the 9th. All right, now we're at the opening frame of the 9th, 036 here, I think. Yeah, so 036. What I want you to see here, and what I'm going to do some zooming and some all this wonderful stuff, and this is the tail end of this event. And then when we go to the next day to see the beginning of the event, all the data is scrubbed. So we have these images here. So I got to lower the lighting a little bit, tilt this back a little bit. Go on now. Our bigger object right here, boom, leaving the scene, all right, with some moons and stuff trailing it. All right, this one probably made a close pass by our planet. It's, coming from the southern quadrant of the sun, passing underneath it. So it would kind of come behind us. We move this way across the screen. So this one would come back behind our orbit and sneak back behind there. There's a couple of frames right here, right, as it moves out of frame. And that was it. Okay. Now, with that frame right there, remember our object is dark and black. Get out of there, you photo bomber. All right. Our object is dark and black. Okay. So it's really hard to detect. It's a massive one because look at these little trailing moons that are caught up here in the, in the wake of it. As we scroll back up, this is that really strong one that had this whole conduit from here to here of plasma reaching down to it. It's still connected. See this object down here? All this plasma is reaching out and connecting to it, and some moons are trailing in the wake of it. Okay, there's your object. This thing, when it causes the CME comes our way, but then this object retains a lot of geomagnetic radiation. Now, can you see it there? There's the conduit of plasma, just this wide, thick, solid band, boom, latching onto it. All right, and there's our event that caused our G4, I believe, our intensification of the storm up to G4. Okay, and I've explained this several times. It's these larger objects that when they bring the CME, and then the object itself has more energy with it, so it increases your storm capability. All right, so there was this hiding on the 9th at the very tail end, because these are the opening frames. As we go forward, it moves out of frame. Okay, look at the wake that's trailing behind it. See the little moons and everything that were satellites that were still trailing. Some of these other ones split off when it interacted with the magnetic field and ripped a couple off. All right. So now what I want to do, this was the 9th. The event really took place on the 8th, at the tail end of the 8th. So let's go back to the 8th. Just want to show you here. We'll let this load up. And while that's loading up, I'm going to take a second to thank you guys for taking a moment of your time to be here with this precious family. Okay. This is indeed the precious family. This is not your regular YouTube channel. Okay. We are here for business. All right. I guess we're going to have that guy in the background anyway. I've been tortured by flies and stuff, bugs, all kinds of stuff all day today. All right, here we go. Problem solved. Now, as we go, this is the 28th here. I want, first of all, precious family, thank you for your precious time. Really. You'll see at the end how precious it is. Okay. As we get through this here, I want you to know our time scale. I'm going to stop it right there. Previous frame, the last frame was at 20, not at 23:48, not at 24. We're missing 4 hours of data at the. Did you guys hear that coyote in the background there? All right. I know. Anyways, tail end of our event is missing, or our event is missing. Here's the tail end of the 8th here. So the eruption event where it came out is missing. We had that tail end of it on the 9th that we captured it. So there was your object. All right. Now let's get into today, which is the 12th, and let that load up. And I will take another moment to say thank you for enjoying the coyotes in the background as they scream at me through the window, I guess. Crazy. Yeah, they sound like babies or something. They're just happy. Okay, so as we look here, not much going on. Here's the 12th. Actually, scroll up. The 12th, 2024. And you can see tail, little remnants or whatever kind of little event here, little object there. Not much to look at. What main concern was the object on the 9th that caused our G4 storming. Okay. Here it is, KP8 already, or went up to KP8. Over wages, he showed it going even higher. Okay, so it went higher than it. Well, it was a strong G4, let's just say. It was a very strong. You guys okay out there? You're still with me? All right, cool. All right, I'm okay too. Now, pick up where we left off. In between these two waves, there's a little barrier where the KP dropped down to 2, but these are 3-hour increments. It doesn't show it on here. Meanwhile, I want you to think absorption. I am a stickler for absorption because, well, that has effects. This geomagnetic storm, besides the pretty auroras and everything, is going to have effects. Well, we're going to see them. Anyways, we'll get into that. There's your KP right there, your G4 storm. Now let's back up a little bit. Come on over here. Our solar flux indices at 272. Okay, it came down 10 points, thankfully. I mean, it was up above 300. That was insane. We saw it at 336. I thought the sun was going to pop. All right. Meanwhile, our sunspot number count is climbing again. We're up 51 more spots up to 245. Okay, so sunspot number climbing again. Okay. Over here, our 3-day geomagnetic forecast. Well, G2 for the 13th. Okay, they're calling for G2. It's back down to G2. This was G4. Now we're getting back down there. Okay, so still, they're going to extend it into the 13th. All right, now so far, nothing for the 14th or the 15th. Whew, that's a little bit of good news. Over here, Chagos X-ray flux, you can see kind of a lower today. and a little smoother today. No big events, so we don't really need to zoom in there too much. Meanwhile, X-flare potential 30% and our M-flare potential 75%. Okay. Now we'll keep this in the background here for G2. Well, for our weather. Okay. Let's continue. Auroras now are really weak. All right. It's coming back down. It's declining and stuff. Um, Let's point out some of these sunspots really quick. AR 3780 is the beta gamma delta one, but it's stable. We got to watch 3784 that's growing and 3786 here. It's stable, but we got to watch those two. And then our buddy 777 is declining, but it's still on the disk real quick. Let me just kind of pop in here just real quick. Show you guys right where everything is. Actually, come back one more dimension, please. There we go. All right, 3784, this bad boy, both poles are very strong and they're very close together. That's one we got to be concerned about in the coming days here, all right? Meanwhile, 3780, the big monster, is moving out of the frame there. And then you can see 377 is rounding the limb. When this comes a little bit closer to this region, it could interfere with our IMF line. Our IMF line is also charged now because our planet is emitting gamma rays. All right. We, as the Earth, are emitting gamma rays like the sun does. Okay. It's not good. And we're sending energy back down the IMF line. So it could, when it crosses that area right there, if it hits it just right, it could spark a little, trigger a little flare or something that would send energy down the IMF line. All right, let's go back. Oops, we were too zoomed. Well, now that we're zoomed, there's your KP or your COS X-ray. And here's a little bit going into tomorrow here. It looks like we're kind of going into another little event. There's a little bit into the future there. Would you guys like to take a little peek into the future and see what happened in here? No? You don't? Really? You don't want to take a peek in? Oh, come on. We're tough. We're going to do it anyway. There it is. It's just waiting. Okay, let's refresh it and get every last little juicy frame. Our little impulse shooting out of here. See our little spire region? Pause it really quick. Go to the very first frame. Boom. You see this teardrop shape coming back down? There's the tail end of something right there. Okay, it's out of frame probably down here, but and you see something connecting to it coming down that little. Ooh, did we have like a big jump in data or something? Oh, well, only 6 hours. All right, so a bunch of missing data there. Spoiler alert, missing data. Wah, wah. Moving on. That's my day. Wah, wah. I don't care. I just keep going. Now, will you see the Northern Lights tonight if you live in North America? Probably not because the event is over. Okay. Well, if you live in Canada, the northern tier of the United States, is possible. That was, well, it's possible, but now a little less likely for widespread delays. The problem is that the BZ component of the interplanetary magnetic field, or the IMF line, has now shifted back to the north, a condition known to suppress geomagnetic activity. It will likely take a solid shift back to the south to get the KP back up to the strong G3 level. For now, minor G1 storming remains in the forecast. In the forecast, okay? You see the two ends? Okay. I tried not to read them, but I just point them out. Forecast in the change was for a moderate G2 storming depending on the state of the solar wind, okay? So we're still possible for G2 storming depending on the state of the solar wind. For viewers located further south of the U.S., let us hope that the BZ swings back to the south for a while. It does not hurt for at least to take a look just in case. For BZ component, acting all weird sometimes when the sun's doing nothing, and then, well, when your BZ component isn't doing so well, let's just say when it's pointing to the south, it lets a lot of this back in. When your magnetic field is weak, you know what I'm saying? Know what I'm saying, Vern? That was yesterday's. Well, actually, let's the 12th. Moderate G2 and strong G3 storm conditions continue as the BZ IMF component of the solar wind has been stuck in the south pointing position for several hours. This is likely the result of maybe something passing south of our planet. No. Reports of a visible aurora appear to be fairly widespread, likely result of number of coronal mass ejections. Yep. Okay, severe G4 geomagnetic storm threshold was reached at 14 UTC. Aurora sky watchers across Europe should be alert. Okay, geomagnetic K index of 8 and 9. Okay, 9, 2. So that was a pretty strong storm for just a little CME, huh? Don't you think? And when you look at it on the aurora charts, it didn't register as the big type. So some other component was in affecting the BZ and the IMF. All right. I'll tell you what it was. Well, I showed you what it was. All right. Wait. Where are you going, bud? Open up that tracker. We need to track because we're lacking some tracking. And this is too jumpy. Nothing new. I do want to take it this double bump right here that they're showing now. Well, that was 12:13. That was just now, so let's take a little peek real quick. Please look. Thank you, Jesus. All right. Right there. In between the 12th and the 13th, our double little whammy impact right there. That's where the KP dropped really quick, and then we had another impact. Okay. Those waves will stack up, but they won't blend together. They'll just get a magnetic, a dip in between that divides the two waves. They want to combine. You see, it's all together one mass right here. Whoa. But they don't want to combine because they're negative or they're oppositely charged. So they'll get as close as they can and then have a big dip in between, and then the second one hits. Let's just sorry, I've been very, very hard battle today. I showed you last night's imagery off the satellite. Remember that little face? Yeah, I've been dealing with that all day. So there's your double little whammy impact. They kind of combine, but they don't become one. They just have a very tight separation line dividing them. Okay. And when the third one of all of them has the object with it, you get G2, whoa, 4, whoops. So it's because the you see how here these waves when they compress together kind of show you an indicator. But all right, let's get out of here. Moving on to the good part. Here's Steve. First off, geomagnetic storm watch still in effect. Yesterday's severe G4 class geomagnetic storm is over. However, the watch is still in effect. NOAA forecasters believe that moderate G2 class storms could occur on the 13th. Okay, so we still have the potential for G2 class tomorrow. Okay, Earth exits a combined wake of the CME sparked by yesterday's storm. Now, severe, Steve. All right. A severe geomagnetic storm, August 20 or 12th, sparked the widespread auroras in both hemispheres with sightings in the USA as far south as Texas, Mississippi, and Arizona. Upon closer inspection, not all lights were auroras. Many observed or saw Steve. Steve? Who's Steve? All right, here in New Zealand, well, let's just get down to that part. I'll let you read that while I take a sip, and then we'll read about Steve. Is an anomaly or an acronym for strong thermal emission velocity enhancement. All right, strong thermal velocity and velocity enhancement. Steve, now I want you to think about this term for a second. Thermal velocity enhancement. Okay, It's strong thermal emission velocity enhancement. We got strong thermal emissions like the sun, the strong thermal emissions from the sun were so fast that the velocity enhanced the auroras, causing a really strong Steve, this ribbon. Okay. All right. All right. So it's the pink ribbon of light in Griffin's photo. It looks like an aurora, but it's not. The pink glow is caused by hot 3,000 degrees Celsius ribbons of gas flowing through Earth's what? Magnetosphere? Mm-hmm. Faster than 13,000 miles an hour. We have high velocity, 13,000 mile an hour ribbons of hot flowing gas through our magnetosphere, and they light up just like that. Boom! That's how hard the geomagnetic storm struck the ionosphere up there. Just tag. And you saw all the northern lights that came out of this from both hemispheres. Right there, it got really severe because that was a high velocity. It was going 13,000 miles an hour, and it was 3,000 degrees. It was hot, and it was fast. It was a strong, hot, fast one. Like your Peter talk about. Skywatchers have even been watching Steve for centuries, not realizing what it was. Yeah. Okay. You can finish off the article if you want and come over here and read that. I just needed to point that out. The strong thermal emissions at high velocity. Okay. Yeah, keep that in the back of your head because it comes into play. All right, here we are over at the Schumann. We've been skipping along pretty good here. Pretty good continuity, I would say. Nothing too strong. All right, but little bumps along the way here. All right, it's not the smoothest trail. It's not smooth concrete with a skateboard. You're walking more like on a rough, rugged trail with hiking boots and dirt with rocks in it. Okay, so our path is still going, but it's just a little bumpy here. All right, and that stuff will mess with you. In the background, your day, you're just going along, doing your normal thing, and whammo, out of nowhere, or something comes along and just changes your day. Well, this going on in the background doesn't help. This is what causes a lot of that friction, we'll say. Meanwhile, it's also an indicator of pressure. When we take on these storms, it gets translated to the pole region where you see the auroras. Then the poles transfer down to the core. The core heats up and swells. It's a spinning dynamo inside of like a empty or like a hollow sphere. All right. That hollow sphere would be the shell or the outer core with the inner core spinning inside of it. Now, when both of them expand, the outer one expanding back down onto the inner, they will grind. And it causes the frequency, the 7.83, your regular normal hum, to get excited and do different things. All right. Scritches and scratches, lower frequencies, more elevated at higher energies. So it messes with your body too and your mind. Meanwhile, indication pressure is just right there. We are right on the verge of popping all the time. It's so close. The barrier between the core and the shell is so close now that any hiccup out of the sun causes this kind of effect. Once this G4 gets absorbed, and we're not done absorbing, by the way, here. Come back here. I need that chart right here. We're not done absorbing, by the way. We're still above G4. This is still going to come down to, G2. And then that whole chunk, or G3, that whole chunk will be all the absorption going down to the core. Now, it takes a minute for all that energy to absorb, burp, basically reverberate back up from the core back up by the swelling, the heating of the magma. It'll roil. It will expand and want to come out of all the perforations in the crust. Okay, so this is all going to come burping back up later. Okay, now we will see once it gets down to the core level, we'll start to see grinding, and we'll have a big grinding event here pretty soon, and that'll be intense on some of you folks. It'll be intense on the animals. It'll be it's going to have reverberations that come back up. We're going to see earthquakes, volcanoes, stronger magnitude, bigger blasts. We might see a tsunami because of that, either earthquake, volcano induced tsunami because of, well, ta-da. And it's not over. We're still G4. We still got to finish G2 tomorrow. And then once all that's over, that's when you start to see the reverberations. We're still taking on energy. It's not going to happen until that transfer is done. So we're still in the process of taking on energy. All right. That's then once all that's done, you're going to see some big white bars out of this thing. All right. Right now, though, thankfully, it's smooth. Okay. Whoops. I shouldn't have started there. Bad, Brian. Bad teacher. All right. Getting back to over here. Look at this. All right, we'll come back to that. So far, storm has left. It's gone. It's out of here, thankfully. Nothing really going on around America too intense. We still got these vortexes going on up here. Look at this around Iceland. We got a vortex just circling the island. I wonder if they're about to have an eruption, huh? Well, we'll see here in a minute. We'll get to that part here in a minute. I just need to peek around real quick, look at the storms, kind of let you guys look at vortexes and see what you see. Here we still have the southern fetch. This is air crossing the equator. Okay, usually all the southern hemisphere weather stays southern. Northern hemisphere stays in the north. We got weather from the south interfering with weather in the north. Been happening for quite a while now, too. All right, this flow, this... And look down there. You can see they're in chaos down there, but those are some pretty healthy storms going on down there. All right, but we don't have to worry about that. We're focusing up here. I want to get position, and then we'll come over to our sandstorm. Particulates is a dust extinction aerosol optical thickness, or your sand, your dust. Okay, big sandstorm still coming off the tip of Africa, going across the Atlantic. Nice, good, even thing out to here at least. We do have this divide right here, so I'd watch out for the storm that's going to brew in here. It'll probably gain strength and do something here. Let's whoops, take that off. I don't want to look here. I want to put on the wind. Yeah, this right here. Watch out, because you see that weakness in the thickness of the sand there? That'll allow for more convection, and if this thing really starts to spin, it'll dissipate that sand out and gain strength, and it'll clear it out. So, but for the meantime, good thickness in there, because that's what's stopping the Hurricane Genesis right now. That is just kind of would be off the hook right now if it weren't for that. Over here in Africa, another little plume growing. Saudi Arabia, Yemen, Oman area, Iran, all that area, just one big dust plume now. All right, you can see this southern fetch coming up. Wow, look at this. It's actually hooking the tip here. Instead of blowing right across India, all of a sudden something boom, going around. Look at that. It's dodging India now. Must have some believers there now. Anyways, coming up through here, you can see we also have Gobi Desert. Always still has some kind of sandstorm up there, but not too bad today. Okay, so there's that. Now we want to get on over here to our SO2. SO2 is a sulfur dioxide. It's the gas that surrounds the magma down below. And when the magma can't come out through the little tiny perforations in the crust, when we have expansion down below, well, it pushes a lot of this gas out of the way instead, or pushes it up through the perforations. All right, there's the country divided, bleeding out on the right. You can see all the little perforations on the crust on the left here, volcanic areas coming to life. All right. What we want to do here, while we got this part up, is add the fire report to it. Because we got to talk about a disturbing issue of fires being caused because of our sulfur dioxide emissions. They're so hot. They're so hot coming out of the ground. They'll spark fires. Spontaneously combust any kind of surrounding vegetation in the area. And look, it's just spreading like wildfire up there. Multiple fires at the plumes. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. And then that activity that we saw last year up in Canada, the same activity was happening last year up in Canada. It's happening this year. You're coming back down through here. Now it's traveling further south, you guys. Okay. The sulfur dioxide emissions coming out of here at Oregon, where we had that new plume with the 120-mile long shadow. Just kind of missed all the headlines there. Everybody missed that one too. Well, not you guys, but fires there. Okay. Northern California, that one park fires out. But look, so is the SO2 emission. See, the SO2 emission died and the park fire died. Meanwhile, we got a new site over here west of the park fire, and we have a new emission site with a new fire. Okay. As we come down, you can see a couple of little, look at this here. Fire at that one. So as we're coming down, we were seeing this activity travel further south down here into Mexico as well. Then we were starting to see it creep easterly towards the dividing line right there. But so far, that activity has kind of retreated now. I don't see anything easterly. And what I'm really seeing is a retreat from the fires here at these SO2 emissions back here. So mainly concentrated right around that area. When you look at it overall. Okay, but look here, just this site, SO2 emissions out of here, a fire just south of, in Washington here. Okay, so a lot of these fires are being sparked from underground. All right, let's get out of there, take off the fires. We don't need to report the whole world, but we're just going to do that for now. And while we're at this hemisphere, this side, here's South America. You can see they have really strong SO2 emissions all the way down their coast. It was thick in this area, but it lightened up after our quake. It's starting to kind of come back into color a little bit now. So some of that, you're welcome, you guys. Some of that pressure is looks like to be returning. Meanwhile, here at our fulcrum point that we always check, it's a weak spot, nice and dark, well defined tonight. The middle one's kind of getting a little stronger here, getting more defined. So pressure coming out of that region as you look all the way down the coastline here, nice and dark. That's a lot of SO2 coming out of there. It relieves a lot of pressure along this plate boundary right here, keeping the magnitudes down. Okay, let's come on over and take a peek. Okay, good. We're getting healthy SO2 emissions out of Oahu here. We'd rather see this than volcanic activity. Meanwhile, SO2 emissions out of, Maui and Hawaii, the main island here. And I'd rather see volcanic activity out of this island. There's less people on this side especially. Okay, so There's SO2 emissions coming out of that region as well. It's the hub of the Pacific Rim. No lion face tonight. Okay, let's come on over and adjust for their time zones. Bingo. Now, as we look in here, still all dark through China and everything. They're having their issues. India is not so much the sandstorm as more of the SO2 storm now. Their coloration has darkened over the, well, I'd say over the past week, I've noticed a little darkening in that region right there. Okay, because used to be a little bit lighter. Some of their plumes, like this one here and this one here, have darkened. This one, that emission site as well, has like intensified or darkened up. You see what I'm saying? See what I'm saying, Vern? All right, now we're here to check out the island of Java because Java has a lot of emission sites and it's one of the relief valves in the area. Right now, nice and dark. Well, not all dark, but dark spots at this end, that's for sure. And then through this region, still emitting a lot of SO2. You can see all these little volcanic islands emitting SO2 down the way. Here's Australia. Okay, and what I wanted to get to is this little island over here. Here's Fiji, our deep quake region. Here's this island right here off the entrance to our plate boundary system. SO2 emissions right there weaken the pressure when it enters the system. Meanwhile, look at this. Australia, they're not out of this. Neither is Tasmania. They still got SO2 emissions. And then for all the elite that are trying to go hide, yeah, volcanic island probably wasn't a good idea. And all over the place. There's nowhere to run. There's nowhere to hide. Anyways, as we kind of pull back, you can see we got some gnarly SO2 emissions up here through Russia, all across Europe. Europe is really speckled. Like I say, sometimes it looks like a big old side of beef that got shot with a shotgun or some bird shot. Just peppered with all these individual sites. Okay, so there's no place that's really free of this except for the heart of the Sahara Desert. So good luck with that. Now we're Iceland. Come here, little Iceland. And a good old SO2 emission site right there out of Iceland. Okay, a lot of volcanic pressure comes up through this region. It's right on the plate boundary. Whoops, the zipper of the earth, basically. Okay, here we go, everybody. We're going to take a peek at the water temperature thing. So, nice deep breath. Hold it and exhale slowly. Okay, one more time. Okay. Let's start over here. We still have this big heat structure, this guy, whatever he's doing, but big old heat plumes right there. North Atlantic. It should be down here by the equator. That's where all the hot water should be, not way up here. Okay. Meanwhile, over here, ooh, this is kind of broken away into its own blob. We were seeing more of a strong comma-shaped structure. This tail of the comma breaking away a little bit or getting disrupted here with less pressure, less temperature at the water. Means less temperature coming off the ocean floor. Okay, so we've had an increase in activity here, relieving activity there. Meanwhile, over here at Tamumasi, just going to town out there. Got cold water inundation there, down below. Japan region, still in hot water. Okay. We come over here to check Taiwan because Taiwan is one of the fulcrum points. It relieves a lot of pressure in the region. And we were seeing yellow around here. It's increasing in this area, but we're getting cold water inundation on the backside here. Okay, so some kind of relief of pressure in this region. All right, it's not much. It could be because we're seeing an increase over here. If the vent opens up on the floor here and relieves pressure, a bunch of stuff that was going on here would stop because pressure is transferring over to this new weak spot. See what I'm saying? So a new spot that opens up can also retract pressure from another area. See how that works? Understand how that would work? If this was like a catch-up package and there was a hole at this end and pressure was put on the packet, it would all come out there and this end would be emptied, right? So kind of like that. All right, that's kind of good. We're seeing cold water inundation there. I would take any that we can get. Meanwhile, we come here to check out Java as well because it's a relief valve as well. And you see cold water inundation around there because pressure is being relieved in the region. Meanwhile, off the coast out here, something going on out there. Southern Africa. Oh, here. Look at this. We have a new spot right here with cold water inundation right there. No wonder why we have a vortex right there. All right, I'm going to go ahead and put the air models back on now. Whoa, 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 whoa. Right. Yes, Lord. Slow down. Okay. Thank you. There we go. And lo and behold, what do we have? Vortex rotation. Hot water right here, cold water rushes in to replace it. And that whole flow that was just slamming this coast straight on for a long time is now getting sucked down and pulled down and looping around Sri Lanka here back up into this region. Okay, so a little change in our pattern right there because of a new opening. See what I'm saying? Do you see how a new thermal heat anomaly can change the flow? It's just constantly changing, going through this process. Okay, we're coming over here to look at our conveyor belt structure. We've talked about this many times, how we're lucky there's not several evenly spaced, 8 to 10 evenly spaced hurricanes rotating around this. You know, category 5 to category 6, one's just one after another. Right now, the sand is actually cutting off all hurricane production. We do have this dip right here. This is not, well, we'll see what happens. This is inhibiting this arm of sand that's coming out. Remember, we saw the little dip in it and the weakness right there? It's because of this little valley, this little dip, this heat plume right here that's growing. We got cold water right next to it, and it's causing a vortex. It's causing that plume to turn around and go back. All right, so there's a change up right here because of this now. See what I'm saying? We had nice smooth flow going through there. This change right here could disrupt the sandstorms and disrupt any kind of hurricane production, possibly. If it takes it and sucks it down into cold water, it would. Okay, meanwhile, over here, you can see our flow is now coming back up through the Gulf, which is not good. This little dip right here has changed the conveyor belt going around in the middle to coming up out of here and hooking a hard left and going into the Caribbean. You see this hook, this hard left hook around the islands into the Caribbean? That flow right there is not good because we have our own heat thermal structures right here, the whole Gulf that would just do wonders for hurricane genesis. Oh boy. Oh, that's not good. All right. Let's come on over here, take a little peek at what's going on with this conveyor belt structure. All right, you see the split in the middle now. We got a certain or a definite vortex right here of its own. This has stopped vortexing now, and now we have a flow coming straight down. This cold water on the coast is expanding outward. It's actually expanding back out, and this area has concentrated in its heat. I'm going to leave it like right there. Yeah, I know. I see you, critter. I got to let the animal out. Come here. Come here, Bubba. Want to go out? Let's go out. I'll let that sit there for a second while you guys. All right. There we go. Cool. Back to business. So, unfortunately, we have a big split here and a hot pocket going off the coast here. We'll have to keep an eye on the Juan de Fuca. It's good that we're seeing this cold water kind of reaching out and matching it. So it's kind of keeping the activity off the coast a little bit. Whatever's going on out here is relieving a lot of pressure, though. So there's that. Now we're going to come on over to our earthquake report real quick. Turn off that light real quick. There we go. Get through this. Okay, no deep quake in this region today. Pressure relieved by this little island right here at the very mouth of the opening of our plate boundary system. So relieving pressure coming in. We have this weak spot right here, this island that's been quaking. And this is not a plate boundary quake. It's 4.5 down at 122. So there's your mid-range 4 activity down at 122 at the base of a volcanic island. All quiet through there. Deep quake region right here, 4.9. You know what we do with 4.9s here? There got to be a record amount of 4.9s this year. Never seen so many 4.9s. That's why we make them 5s, okay? But it's down at 326. It's a deeper quake. It's at a volcanic island. One of these little seamounts or something going on down in here. Okay, so it's not your typical plate boundary quake. It's a deeper quake. Up here, this isn't a plate boundary quake. This is a deeper quake. It's down at 76. There's a 5.0 down at 70. Up here now by Taiwan, this region, this fulcrum point right here, very vital. We haven't had quake here in a long time. It hasn't been doing its job at relieving pressure in the region, so it's kind of locked up or whatever. And we've had quake activity south of it, and now we're having quake activity just a little bit north of it. This is not a plate boundary quake, you can see. And I want to get 4.5 down at 88. You see these volcanic islands right along this region right here. Boom, boom, boom. So down here is the seamount. Something down there rumbling around. Okay, down at 88. Okay. Even up here, northern Japan got a little taste of 4.5 down at 68. Okay, none of these are at the surface. Have you noticed that? They're all deeper quakes. Here at Java, so much pressure comes out of this area, so many volcanoes, so much SO2. It's not enough. They're having quake issues too. This isn't a plate boundary quake relieving energy either. This is a 4.5 down at 83. The other one was 88. This is 83. We're having, little quake activity down at that level, down where our seamounts and stuff are. I really don't see too much of our structure on this one. But another indicator of pressure being relieved. I mean, if you look at this is a volcano. This is a volcano. That's a volcano. This 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You see them all just lined up right there. So this is technically on the base of a multi-headed volcano. No fulcrum points, no fulcrum points. Okay, we'll get to this in a minute. Let's cover these. Bingo. You're 4.3 in Greece, down at 50, and a 4.3 up here at Greece, down at 14. And Greece is having a bunch of fires right now. I would get out of Greece, especially with fires, because you can't use water on a grease fire. Now, over here, the Holy Land, yes. Little message sent today rattled everybody with 5.0. Come on, it was bigger than 5.0. It was a 5.4. At the surface. There were no quakes at the surface today. Oh, except here there was. And just as a little reminder that hey, that wasn't a fluke. It backs it up with a 4.5, right? Even shallower right there. Just to give you a little 1-2 reminder. There's a second one, second round. Okay. Now we'll come on over here real quick. Ooh, this is not a plate boundary quake. This is Easter Isle. 5.4 in the South Pacific out here at 9. It's a shallow quake. It's not a plate boundary, but we do have our little crisscross applesauce little structure going on here. 5.4, relieving energy at the surface there, at least underwater. Wow, that was a big one. Get some interesting things here. 4.7 at 35 and 4.7 down at 156. Now let's do America. Because we had a quake today in LA. And the quake itself wasn't the headlines. The headlines were kids are back in school already. It was the first day of school when the quake hit. These poor kids don't get summer anymore, I swear. 3.7 at the surface, 4.5 at the surface. Here's some energy being relieved at the surface right there. 4.5, that's a bigger magnitude for this region in a while. Volcanic islands, just take a little peek under the hood. 3 magnitude still carries through there. All up through there. Good. There's one here to check today. 3.6. All right. So we have some of this 3.6 energy in the area. And I want a fulcrum reading, please. Take the biggest one. 2.1 relieving up there a little bit. Yeah, the rest of those don't look worthy. Oh, right here. Bingo. There's our 2.0. Okay, good. So a lot of energy got relieved right there with these microquakes up here at the fulcrum point. Coming on down now. Here's the Puget Sound region. Couple explosions, little microquaking. Nothing at Rainier today. Nothing really at St. Helens today. Little quake activity here at this volcano. Government camp. Not much. Indication of pressure rattling around down there. Coming in, you saw your Juan de Fuca as we went down, how quiet it is. We need more activity in that region to relieve pressure out there. Right out here is that big old hot spot. Okay, so it's relieving pressure itself, which might keep this area quiet, but I would love to see just medium kind of quaking in here to keep that pressure from getting underneath the land. You know what I'm saying? Underneath this plate right here and lifting it up or something would be catastrophic. little microquaking coming in, nothing at the fulcrum point, so it drives inland. Something I want to just kind of do. There's the geysers taking care of a bunch of energy there, but coming in here, we have a 2.1 there. These little fault lines here, 1.5, 1.2, they take out some of the energy here before it hits this big old Bay Area, which is good because a lot of concentration of people there. 2.4 and 1.9. All right, good. Relieving some energy, but look at the plate boundary here. Very quiet along the San Andreas. There's a couple right here. 2.5, the Pinnacles. Now, back down here to this region, again, with this quake swarming going on down here, this is good. This is relieving a lot of pressure out here. 2.0s, 2.2s in our recent magnitude check. 1.3. So we saw some 2s in there today, mid-range 1s. Here's a 1.3 just now. So that's good. It's relieving a lot of energy there. But as you can see, we are having more than just, where'd that 5 go? Come here, you. There it is. Here's our big quake today. Come on now. Well, there it goes. 4.4 now. Well, it was 5, then 4.7, now 4.4. Let me just tell you, it rattled a lot of people in the area, woke them up, got their nerves going a little bit. Bunch of kids were in school first day, and of course they haven't had time to run any drills or anything like that, so poor kids got scared on their first day of school. Shouldn't even be back in school yet. I think that's a little ridiculous. Boom, there's your first one. Come on, with a tsunami indicator. Come on now. Let's pop it open. I just want to see if there was a change in magnitude on that or what they set up theirs. Bear with it for a second. Here it comes, and there it goes. 4.6. Okay, they said 4.4. This says 4.6. See, there's discrepancies there. I saw 4.7 and even heard 5.0 earlier. So we all know what happens. But look at this. Little quake swarming, it looks like going off here because 2.1, 2.1, 1.6, 1.5, 1.5, all these little small quakes, all because of a 4.4 or 4.7, whichever. No, that's similar to what we just saw happen right up here, isn't it? Same magnitude, little swarming quakes. 2.2, 2.6, 1.6. Sound familiar from like the one down below? So, little quake swarming going on here. New weak spot and quake swarming going on there now. This site right here has a few quakes and a current one. So let's come over and check this little area. Bear Lake, Big Bear Lake. Not big ones, but this is activity. This is an indicator of a weak spot. Same with that one in LA here. That's an indicator of a weak spot right there. Not a good spot to have a weak spot. Let's pray that this keeps just kind of swarming out at small magnitude and doesn't like, well, you know, it could stop and build pressure up and then snap again with a bigger magnitude. Now that we have an established weak spot, it's, you know, let it swarm out with a bunch of little magnitude stuff, relieve pressure in the area. Okay, little quakes down through that region, nothing really too big to report on. Want to take a peek over at the rest of the USA. We did have a little activity up here in Idaho, 1.9. Activity out here in New Mexico. We all understand why this is happening. Man-made perforations and Craton looking pretty quiet. Okay. Quick magnitude check down here. 3.4 and 3.7, really? 3.7? And that's probably changed a little too. So a little increase in magnitude in that area. Okay, I think that's about it. We get her done and get her done. Moving on to the volcano report. I have to take down a couple of open pages here to get it to pull up. So bear with me as we kind of X out of some of these instruments in the background. My little secondhand store used laptop can only handle so much. Oh, thank God it works. All right, let's do some weather. No, not the weather. Volcano. Get rid of the earthquake page, and we can do the volcano page. Okay. There we go. So 34 erupting and 30 in warning. That's 64 volcanoes. That is crazy. 7 years ago when all this started happening to me, if I'd have told you back then that there'd be 64 volcanoes going off right now, you would have said, Brian, you are crazy. And, well, I am crazy about you. Let's dance. October 13th. Ebu, 8,000 feet, satellite image of Luotobi. We can get to that later. Luotobi, 12,000 feet. Okay, Ebu, 8,000, Luotobi, 12. White Island, New Zealand. Eruption at, observed on satellite imagery at 6,000 feet. So White Island, New Zealand had an eruption, a 6,000-foot eruption. Shaking and rattling and rolling. Songay 19, Reventador 14, Sabancaya 22. And that was just in the last few moments. Let's get into today, which is now yesterday, because, well, time just flies at this channel. Sakurajima, 9,000 feet. Suwanosejima, 6,000 feet. IBU at 8,000 feet. Luotobi, 6,000. Semaru, 15 at its max, like usual. Does that dog look possessed or what? Don't get those two dogs. They'll eat you. Semaru still 15,000. Dukono, 8,000. White Island, 6,000 we covered. Santa Aguido, sporadic emissions of ash. Fuego, ash emissions. Songay, 20. Reventador, 16,000. Sabancaya, 23. Do not look at these lists. These lists are insanity. You will get desensitized by thinking this is normal activity. Currently erupting has potential. They're active. They're puffing and steaming and spewing and SO2ing. These are currently erupting. So as we just kind of continue here. Wow. That's a lot of volcanic activity. Imagine twice that much underwater. Okay. That's a lot of volcanoes. So let's come on over, load up the weather here. And while that's loading up, I'll take a moment to say thank you for being so patient and making it this far into the show. You are truly a family member if you've stuck it out this far. All right. Let's dance. Hurry up here. Let this load up. Only kind of concerned about the next 72 hours anyways, because weather is so volatile, meaning has the capacity to change and be intense at the drop of a dime, and change from being intense and going away at the drop of a dime as well. Okay. So, with a grain of salt, we tap dance through the weather. Now, we are in G2 storm conditions right now, not G4. We're at G2. Okay. And we're looking for G2 to continue through the end of August 13th, then nothing on the 14th. Taking that into consideration, here's the current conditions nighttime of the 12th. Oh, thank you for saying I'm doing a good job. I don't feel like I am. I feel I could do way better. If I had some good technology in my studio, my lab, and everything, I could really kick ass. Anyways, morning time of 13, right here. Morning time of 13. G2 enhancement to this here in the morning time. You people in Kansas, you got just hours away from right now to the morning time. You're going to wake up to severe weather here in Kansas, and it could be enhanced even more so than what you're looking at. Going into the noontime, it diminishes, but we could see enhancement there. Remember G2. Here's convection showing a no convection, where we'll probably see a lot of convection. Nighttime of the 13th. Just a reminder, we're still inside the 13th. Still possible G2 enhancement to this. All up through Canada, and then you guys down in here too. Don't get caught off guard. This can creep up too. All right, so Kansas just got tagged, now Nebraska, okay, at the nighttime. That is my closest concern right now, is what's going on in Colorado right there, shifting into Kansas by the morning. There's right there, watch out, Missouri and Arkansas. And then you see it roil up here in the mountain areas again, starting to swoop back up through here at convection, and then blossoming and hitting Nebraska at nighttime. Telling you, watch out in those two. Then we go into the 14th with no enhancement, hopefully. Okay. Noon, severe weather in Minnesota. Convection, severe weather in Minnesota. Up in Canada, too. Nighttime. Minnesota, yeah, everybody in that little region. And then at nighttime here, see how these pop-ups come back up down here in Iowa and down here at watch out in those ones. These isolated supercells type structure can form in those, and they get very dangerous. We go into the morning hours of the 15th here. Still severe weather hanging out. By noontime, kind of burning off. There's convection and nighttime of the 15th. All right. Still these pop-ups back here, Oklahoma, Minnesota, up into here. Don't let these catch you off guard. Okay. And that's about as far as we can rely on the weather models now. So as we go through the rest, I'm just going to call them off. There's a morning of 16, noon, convection, nighttime. Morning of 17, noon, convection, nighttime. 18, noon, convection, nighttime. 19, noon, convection, nighttime. 20, noon, convection, nighttime. 21, noon, convection, nighttime. 22, noon, convection, nighttime. 23, convection, nighttime. Look at that nighttime activity right there. Let me back up just a little bit. You see how this comma-shaped tail coming down through here during the noontime hours here on the 23rd. This will probably won't happen, but this is a kind of an example of what I'm talking about to watch out for, is activity that does that right there. These QLCS type structures right here in this tail end of this line at nighttime on the 23rd could really be devastating right there. That could catch people off guard. You see how fast it would shift too? It could shift regions just because of temperature change. That's nighttime, the cool air right down here. And then in the morning time, the cool air up in here. Morning of the 24th, noon, convection, nighttime 25, noon, convection, nighttime 26, noon, convection. Up there in Canada, watch out. You see that kind of weather pattern flowing through the area up there. We have so much warm, moist air coming up that it, for serious, like severe weather, you need a cold air component. So it's searching for cold air. The cooler air is up here. So you get this warm, moist air come all the way up here and finally get your severe activity further north now than, say, Tornado Alley down here because our cooler air is further north now. Okay. All right. So we made it through all of that. You guys did a good job. Way to hang in there. Let's get to the spiritual report because some of you have been hanging through the whole show trying to get to that part. So, as we back out of this, it's important to remember this is all happening for a reason. Okay, it's all part of the script, the scriptures. The script for the movie. You're a real life actor in a movie. You want to hear something funny? Some of you are my generation. You remember the video game Pole Position. It's driving the Indy car, right? But before you get to actually play, you have to qualify. And it does this cute little digital musical song. Prepare to qualify. Well, prepare to qualify. That's what we're doing here. We're preparing to qualify. This planet is a testing ground, right? We're here to test your character, see what you're made of, right? And what you can endure. And the things that you're seeing is, well, what you're enduring. You're going through your tribulation right now. I'm going through mine right now. I've been going through my tribulation for the last 7 years, almost 7 years. The anniversary is coming up very soon. So there's that. We're going to pull up another stuff from my channel, a couple images to read to. I did not really. What the heck is that? An alien eating that girl? Okay, not on my show. And don't let them deceive you with all this alien bull crap. Aliens are real. They're the fallen, but they're not the ones that created you. Okay? Somebody special created you. All right, and it wasn't Lachlan Lube either. Come on, YouTube, you guys are just. That's good enough right there. You see this guy right here pulling his shirt open, exposing his heart like Superman? Yeah, Superman is real. And he loves you. Okay? That's love coming out of his heart, radiating out, making my face in the sky. So when you're seeking my face, you're seeking the heart of Jesus. You're seeking love. It's a good thing. When you realize what's going on here, you'll understand. It makes life and some of your trials a lot easier to bear when you know they're for a reason. So I got a couple of things here for you. Where should we start? Let's start with that image. Booklet, right? Alright, try not to blind the camera. So, a lot of crazy activity going on, and I see it, I sense it, I feel everybody's anxiety and their pressures and all their doubts and everything is crazy. Living inside out, having every nerve ending exposed. So I can feel a lot of sadness out there. Okay, people are losing their hope a little bit and starting to get sad. Okay, And I want you to remember that whenever you are sad or whenever you're feeling sad, I want you to anticipate feeling joyful again. Because this takes the sting out of your sorrow because you know it's only temporary. Okay? Everything is temporary here on this planet. So this too shall pass. So when you're feeling sad, remember this too shall pass. I want you to anticipate feeling joyful again. It takes the sting out of sorrow. Okay. When we're doing our salvage work throughout the course of the day, say there's things that irritate you, make you mad, you've overcome that and you salvage that, but then something sad happens and it kind of makes you sorrowful, and you're in mourning of the loss of a friend or a pet, whatever. You can be sad, but I want you to anticipate feeling joyful again. Okay, because you can't stay in that state of sadness. Sadness tends to duplicate itself along a timeline. So we got to kind of nip it in the bud. How am I going to write this? Let's just try it this way. So you got to anticipate feeling joyful again. That's how you kind of work your way back up. You know that it won't last forever. It has to run its course sometimes. I guess that's what I'm trying to say, is when you're feeling sad, it's hard to just snap right out of it with a big old smile. I understand that. It takes time and distance and healing, but I want you to anticipate feeling joyful again, okay? Because you can't stay that way. The sadness will tend to duplicate itself along a timeline, convincing you that you'll always be unhappy. I don't want you convinced that you'll always be unhappy or that you'll ever have to be unhappy, okay? I've seen some sad things. Okay, I felt some pretty sorrowful feelings, and I can tell you guys are sad. Not you guys specifically, but there's some people out there. Okay, and I want you to anticipate feeling joy again. It takes the sting out of your sorrow. It reminds you that it's only temporary. You got to be careful because sadness will duplicate itself on a timeline. It'll convince you that you'll always be unhappy. You will slip into that greasy, slippery hole of self-pity. And once you get in there, it's hard to get out. It is really hard to get out. So quit convincing yourself that you'll always be unhappy. Okay? It's that convincing yourself that you'll always be unhappy is the true lie. Okay? When you have convinced yourself, oh, that's just never going to get any better, I'll always be unhappy, well, then that's the true lie. Okay? But the truth is, all of my followers have infinite joy ahead of them, guaranteed throughout eternity. So no one can take that away from you. You understand me? You got me? That is your foundation. That is your rock. You're convincing yourself that you'll be unhappy. That's the big lie. The truth is, my followers, if you're here in my channel, you're listening to me, you see my face, you're caught up with me in the clouds, you are one of my followers, and all of my followers have infinite joy ahead of them. I want you, whenever you're feeling sad, to remember that you are guaranteed joy throughout eternity. So bear it and take it now. Let it run its course. See what you're going to learn from it. Well, how are you going to grow from that sadness? Okay, you're going to be joyful again. How are you going to grow from it? Don't let the duplicating down the timeline effect suck you into that hole of self-pity. And remind yourself the truth is my followers have infinite joy ahead of them, and it's guaranteed. Your path through this world will have many ups and downs. Your down times are difficult, but they serve an important purpose. Pain and struggle help you change and help you grow stronger when you trust me in the midst of that adversity. If you don't trust me in the midst of that adversity, you don't change and you don't go stronger. It's just pain and struggle. But pain and struggle help you change and grow stronger when you trust me in that during those struggles, during that change, during that pain, during that adversity. Otherwise, you're just wasting energy. Okay? Pain and struggle help you change and grow stronger when you trust me in the midst of that change, in the midst of that struggle, in the midst of that adversity. Your troubles are comparable to a woman enduring labor pains. You guys are going through the labor pains. Your suffering is very real, just like her. Her suffering is very real, and she may wonder how much longer she can bear the pain. You guys wondering how much longer you can bear the pain? I know. However, this arduous struggle produces a wonderful result, a newborn baby. While you labor through your earthly struggles, keep your eyes on the promised reward right there in front of your face. Keep your eyes on the promised reward. Okay. Here, let's slide right there so we can get a little bit of those. You got to remember, you're like the woman in labor. Your suffering is very real, and you wonder how much longer you can bear the pain. This arduous struggle produces something wonderful, a newborn. You will be newly born inside. You will be that newborn baby. Right now, you guys, after being here at this channel doing this work, you are newborn babies that are toddling now. You're headed towards oh shoot, some of you are in kindergarten, and some of you are halfway through middle school now, and I got a bunch of people that are graduating high school right now too. So your suffering is like that woman. It's very real. You wonder how much longer you can bear it, but it produces something new inside you. And while you labor through your earthly struggles, keep your eyes on the promised reward, boundless joy in heaven. Even now, you can grow in awareness of my presence, where there is fullness of joy. You guys receiving some of that joy? Good, because I live in you. I am everything you could possibly need in a Savior God, and I am alive. I am alive, and I am alive within you. I fill you with radiant light and love. I fill you with radiant light and love. See radiant love? See the radiant light lighting up the clouds. The clouds, you wouldn't see them if there wasn't light radiating out and illuminating the clouds. This is illuminating, radiating light and love right there. Okay? I live in you. I am alive, and I am alive within you. I fill you with radiant light and love. I want my life in you to overflow and impact other people. As you interact with them, ask me to live through you and love through you. When you collaborate with me in this way, my light will reflect from your face and my love will grace your words. You are indeed complete in me. Look, you're complete. I told you I would complete you. You see this now. You are fascinated. You're intrigued. You're caught up with me in the clouds. Happened on Easter, okay? That should reassure you too. You are complete in me. All that you need for your salvation and your spiritual growth is found in me. Through my divine power, you have everything necessary to persevere in the eternal life I have given you. I also give you intimate knowledge of me. I invite you to open up and share with me at the deepest levels, both your struggles and your delights. Not just all struggles, share with me in your delights. They'll be even better. At the deepest levels, I want you to find rest in my finished work on the cross and rejoice that you are eternally secure in me. Find rest in my finished work. Rejoice that you here at this channel are eternally secure in me. I want you to enjoy the rich soul satisfaction through knowing me, your loving Savior and forever friend. I love you guys. I miss you all. I gotta go. You guys, I would hang out longer, but that dude from, remember that face I showed you last night stream on the satellite? Yeah, I got unfinished business, so I got to get going, get back to my business. I just took a little break from that to pop in and be with my family, see, because I can't come by and just knock on your door right now. And I want to meet my family and be with them, but the only way I can do that is, well, live on YouTube, which requires the internet, which is the air of cyberspace. So we have to meet in the air. But we do. We meet in the air. You get caught up with me in the clouds. You are complete in me. You're not raptured. Rapture is not in the Bible. You are now complete. Do you understand that part? Your faith is complete now. You know your prayers are heard. You know how this stuff works. You're practicing using the tools. You're finding it's hard. It's difficult out there. This is a battle. You are in a spiritual warfare. You need these tools to salvage each day the best you can. Okay, it's progress, not perfection. Okay, don't focus too much on that performance. That'll become the idol too. So it's progress, not perfection. It's you are complete. If you want it, if you believe me. See, that's the thing. If you believe me, well, you trust me, then you're complete. But you still have doubts, well, then you're not getting the fullness of it. So, trust, belief, these are all independent pictures. Okay? That's the miracle you're looking at. A real miracle because of my presence. That's my face in the clouds right there with a crown on Easter. I showed you the birthmark on the side of my chest. I've shown you angels. I showed you Mary in my garage. I showed you the baby being born in my garage. That newborn baby being born in the garage, that's you. That's going to be you. You're going to be a newborn baby when you're complete. And some of you have toddlers and some are teenagers running around and some of you are getting there and we're all maturing, right? So Welcome. This is me. I'm back. I told you I would be back. What would be a sign of you'd be back? Well, there'd be this and there'd be that, and you'd see this and you'd see that. Well, they're all happening, but no one's looking up. They're all looking down at their cell phones or looking at the political nightmare that's going on, right? So, but if you look up, you'll see me coming in the clouds. When you do, you get caught up in it. And if you're caught up with me in the clouds and we met here in the air of cyberspace, you truly are guaranteed joy in eternity. All right. I love you. I miss you. And until my next show, I will be back. I am already back. Can't you tell? The world is showing all the signs. I love you. Bye.